Magandang umaga sa ating lahat at Happy New Week. Okay. So, I'm very happy to be with you today. And I am really glad that so many were able to come, including our friends from the academe, from media, and of course, the host institutions for our S&T Fellows. Uh, we are quite proud to say that our Human Resource Development Program has significantly, shall we say, improved in terms of number and quality of scholar graduates that we have produced. Uh, in very simple terms, for example, at the undergraduate level, our freshman scholars in 2016 were in the range of 5,000 for the new school year. And today, when we will be announcing the qualifiers very soon, it will be very close to 11,000. So that shows that we have doubled in terms of the undergraduate scholarships. USECEB knows better the statistics for the MS and PhD, but certainly in terms of graduates, I think we were able to rise from around 100 to around 500 a year now, combined MS and PhD. And of course, we have resumed our sending of scholars abroad for fields or areas which are not offered by our local universities. Yun naman ang isang napakagandang contribution siguro ng ESEP, the ESEP program some 2-3 decades ago. Sila USECEB are products of ESEP. And the people who were produced by ESEP are the ones running our S&T institutions now, not only at DOST but also in the academe and the other research and development institutions. We are proud of that. And the significant, shall we say, evidence of that is the offering of MS and PhD in several universities locally. Okay, so we have a number of consortia now in existence. We have the Advanced Science and Technology HRD Consortium, where perhaps some of you are products. We have the ERDT, or Engineering for R&D Technology Consortium, again, where some of you are products. And when I came in, I had this policy of really strengthening the regions and making our pool of science and technology researchers and research institutions bigger and more distributed in our country. Not only in the big cities or big urban areas like Metro Manila or Metro Cebu, but also to the other regions of the country. And that is the reason why we have now the needs centers for the regions, or the nicer centers. And we also created or accredited new universities to be delivering institutions for MS and PhD scholarships for DOST. So it is not limited anymore to the ASTHRD and to the ERDT consortia. We now have a consortium that covers different universities in the regions. And originally, the consortium is really for MS and PhD in science and math education. But now we have also universities not under ASTHRD or ERDT that offer MS and PhD in the different sciences and programs. So in terms of output, meron pa rin tayong mga scholars or STEM graduates who have worked their way on their own, applied on their own for scholarships abroad, okay, and were able to earn their advanced degrees abroad outside of the DOST scholarships, okay. For example, when I attended the graduation of our first scholars for space science and space technology in Hokkaido, and ano pa ba yung isa? In Tohoku, the graduation were a day apart, okay, and I attended because we had Filipino graduates graduating there. I met Filipino scholars not under DOST scholarship in Hokkaido and in Tohoku, and I believe this is happening in other Japanese universities and other universities as well. And so I said, ang dami pala nating mga napoproduce na ngayon, ano? Hindi na tayo masyadong ano tawag dito, very low in output of MS and PhD compared to the other ASEAN countries. Of course, ano pa din, marami pa din yung iba kesa sa atin, but we have, I think, caught up in terms of meeting the UNESCO targets of around 380 researchers per million population. So we have already, we're very close to that figure already. Now, the concern that we have is that in the Philippines, okay, where would the MS and PhD people go? Okay, the possibilities are to go to the universities where they can teach or become researchers. But you know, in the state universities and colleges, the creation of new plantilla positions for faculty members and researchers, madalang pa po sa patak ng ulan sa Tag-Araw. Ganun din po sa mga government R&D organizations, whether it is in DOST, in DA, in DENR, in DOH, the creation of new plantilla items for researchers ay talagang napakadalang. No? And of course, ang nagde-decide dyan ay basically ang DBM. No? And while they have been generous in allocating more resources for scholarships, hindi po sila ganun ka-generous mag-create ng new plantilla positions. No? And if you go to the private sector, while the big companies at one time were telling us, we need MS and PhDs, produce more of them, I don't think they are absorbing too many, you know, of this MS and PhD. And so we trace that, all of that, to the status of our economy. Okay, so it will all depend on new investments in science and technology-based industries, whether these are local investors or foreign investors. Kung walang masyado pang ganyan, saan na pupunta yung ating mga graduates? Now, I remember, ayun nga, nag-usap kami ni Yusek, paano kaya natin gagawa nito ng paraan if we just offer the positions in the R&D institutes of DOST, yung ordinary positions where we have the science research specialist, 1 and 2, and the supervising, ay ito po ay napakababa pa din ng salary grade. And at the same time, hindi naman siya nababakante ng ganun kadalas. Kasi isa pa naming observation ngayon, parang yung turnover in terms of people leaving our R&D institute is not that high. Okay? Kahit nga yung Pag-asa noon na sinasabi nilang nag-a-abroad ang karamihan ng mga taga-Pag-asa, hindi na po totoo yun. No? And so naisipan namin, we have to create something which can offer a good compensation, pero of course we are limited. This cannot be plantilla positions. We have no power to create plantilla positions, and so we thought of some kind of a postgraduate fellowship. So ang category para sa akin ito, hindi ito talaga yung employment, kundi it's more of a postgraduate fellowship. And of course, we have to set a certain limit or a time period. So we just hope that in that given time period, we are able to provide more opportunities. The economy must have improved by that time. And we also thought that itong atin naman mga researchers, if they are really good, hindi naman sila mawawalan ng projects na magagawa. And I still recall ang aking parang modelo dito. It was so long ago, in August of 1983, tagal na doon, we were invited to go to Australia by the Australian government, and people from DOST and from some universities to observe the science and technology system, particularly the CSIRO system in Australia. Okay, I cannot remember the date because we left on August 27 or 26, 1983, and that was only 3 days from the death of Ninoy Aquino. So ang atmosphere namin parang ang lungkot-lungkot. Anyway, when we went around yung scheduled tour, I noticed that the people working as scientists are not actually permanently employed in those positions. So they are given contracts for project to project, and then these researchers, siyempre, they show naman that they are very productive. Hindi naman sila nawawala ng projects na ginagawa. But they are well compensated. And so parang ito yung naisipan namin ni Yusek Geb. And I really was surprised when I first met by Zoom the first 25 or 26 S&T Fellows. Inisa-isa ko yung kanilang curriculum vitae. At nakita ko doon na more than half of the first batch, I think 15 out of the 25, actually graduated from abroad, most of them on their own. They were not DOST scholars, but they decided to come home and work in our country. And that shows that, to me, most Filipino scientists, actually, they really want to work and help our country. It's really by force of circumstances that some of them have to stay abroad. But if given the opportunity, they will be willing to help. The other point I would like to mention, but this is already regarding the Balik Scientist Program. Ako po ay tuwan-tuwa nung si Director Annabel ata itong nasa harap ko. Ang hirap, hindi ko na makita, puro mga maskara tayo. Nung i-announce na natin yung pagtatayo natin ng Virology and Vaccine Institute, ay ang dami agad nagpakita ng interest. And ito ay hindi lamang in terms of salita. They came, 7 of them came from the US. From the US, from Australia, and from the UK. I don't know whether some of you have met them, but they are the ones who have been helping us in starting the research projects funded by the budget given by DBM, even if the Virology and Vaccine Institute is not yet created. For the last 2 years, they have been setting aside budget for that. If I'm not mistaken, around 280 million in 2021 and around 800 plus million in 2022. On top of that, they have already allocated money for the setting up of the Virology and Vaccine Institute facilities in Clark Green Zone. But the money is not given to us, it's given to DPWH. Now, that is an indication that the government is serious about it. Kaya lang ay medyo na delay sa Senate. Sa House, walang problema. They have really pushed hard to establish and approve this piece of legislation, pero sa Senate po ay hindi na take up. Now, we also am very glad that on top of the Balik Scientists, on top of the S&T Fellows program, we also have the RD Lead program, okay, being managed by the National Research Council of the Philippines. Ayan, si Dr. Sumagaysay, ang nakakaalam niyan. So, yung mga imported na scientists na dinidetail sa iba't ibang institutions and regions ay may counterpart po na hindi imported, yung RD Lead program na ang gagaling din po ng ating mga scientists, ano, and they are willing to work long, even 6 months yata. Some of them stay for 6 months in the regions, in the institutions where which they help in getting their R&D programs and centers started. And these are really top of the line, kumbaga, kung sa ating lengguwahe, ano, na internationally recognized lang sila, pero they opted to stay here, and a good number of them actually are retirees, no? Pero alam niyo ang mga retirees ngayon, ano pa, malalakas pa. Oo. So I would like to end my talk by thanking each and every one of our S&T Fellows, and of course, by giving also the advice that in anything that we do, there are always ano tawag dito, challenges along the way. You know? To reach the destination, it is not that smooth, okay, all the time, and we have to just think that if we are determined, we will be able to succeed. Magandang umaga po muli sa inyong lahat.